couple things I want to share with you. Look at my beautiful Asiatic lily. It's looking gorgeous. Bright red with the orange center. I don't know if you could see it. Gorgeous. Propagated some scented geraniums and I put them in this shady spot, so they're gonna take time to start blooming. And this one looks like it's dead because it's brown, but there's a little green stem coming out of it. Over there, my chrysanthemum was in a pot and it was looking scraggly, so I stuck it in the ground, transplanted it out. It's doing fantastic. Over there I have some things I'm working on, a project. This mum I put into the ground as well. I have no idea what color it is. I forgot to label it, but when it blooms it's gonna look gorgeous. And it's here because this whole spot right here was completely empty except for the Asiatic lily, and it was prone to growing crabgrass. So I've been plucking away at the crabgrass and throwing plants into the ground, such as these two mums and this French lavender and a bunch of other things, just trying to keep the weeds down here. I put some tomato cages over my tomato and I can't wait till it starts fruiting for me. I took the lower leaves off of it so that it will be less likely to rot or whatever from the bottom, disease. And there are two plants in here, two tomato plants. This huge thing right here is a sunflower and it's doing great. And I placed a seed for another one right over there. And if you can see the difference between those leaves and the zinnia leaves, which are growing everywhere. And I plucked off the top little section to try to propagate it. And when you pluck it off, then so you see I plucked it off right there, and now it's got more branches. It encourages branching. So plucked from there, and so as they come up, I'm gonna do that. And there's my dianthus. They said that bachelor buttons reseed themselves, and I had bachelor buttons and zinnias and sunflowers in this little section here, but I have yet to see any of the bachelor's button coming back up. I just kind of made a little circle here, and over there I have cardboard to kind of keep the weeds from coming up. But I have this little semicircle-ish thing here where I had the Bell & Country galvanized steel ring, and I pulled it up and moved it somewhere else. I'm trying to plant some herbs in it elsewhere, but still the soil here was good. So I just threw some sunflower seeds down. The dianthus seeds were from last year. They came back. They're kind of perennial, by the way. And then I'm trying to do a bunch of things over here, another experiment. I harvested a couple blackberries from here. There's a red one right there. It's kind of hiding. I plucked a couple out of here. Over there I have some golden raspberries, and my husband said they were very, very sweet. I plucked him about 4 of those from that little plant, that plant over there. It's in a pot. Because I've discovered that I don't want to deal with canes as they spread, especially when they're thorny. I just decided I'm going to keep them in pots. Yes, I do believe mums do better in the ground than in pots. So this one too, it was struggling, and it had a lot of little baby buds like it wants to bloom, but it just wasn't doing it. And so I stuck it in the ground, and it's starting to bloom, and hopefully it fills out and gets nice and strong like the yellow one. These are my melon seedlings, and I had them in a pot, but they don't do well. They start to die off. Although Melons and squashes don't do well getting transplanted, I heard, because they don't like their roots disturbed. I'm not sure about that, but I moved it from the pot because, yeah, it tends to die when it's in a shallow pot. And I stuck it here in the ground, and hopefully it's going to do as well as the mums. And then I hope it climbs up this trellis, which at the moment is a little crooked, but hopefully it climbs this trellis, makes me lots of good melons. And this trellis was put here to kind of hold the goji berry plant in place. And what do you know, I've got a couple goji berries right there, right there. I think that the reason why I don't always see goji berries is because the birds get to them before I do. It's a bright red fruit, you know. Anyhow, like I said, the leaves can be eaten and they're very nutritious, full of protein and vitamins. Here's another mum I transplanted into the ground, and it's looking a lot better. And my Thai basil is doing really good. And here's another mum. That one was in the ground since last year, and it's spreading out quite a bit. And I forget what that plant is called. I don't know why I've lost the label to it down there. And then over here's another plant. I think this is the monarda. I'm not sure. Here's some vegetable from my mom's garden. I transplanted in here. Shiso, I think they're called. They're green on this side, or perella, sorry. And this is another tomato, and it's growing every single day. It's gotten a lot taller. And here's the lettuce that's going to seed next to it as it's warming up. And deep down in here, I just threw a bunch of papaya seeds in there. If they don't make it, they don't make it, because I've always had a hard time with papayas. And over here, I'm going to have to pluck the lower leaves of the tomato so that it doesn't get diseased. And look at this beautiful mum. It's doing fantastic. It started blooming as soon as I put it in the ground, and it's kind of semi-shady over here. It likes sun, but I think it also likes some kind of shade as well. I think a lot of plants don't just like to be burnt. And I love it so much. So why am I talking about mums so much and putting them everywhere? Mums are the best plants to repel pests. They have that pyrethrum that helps to get rid of plants. It has a scent, and it's better than marigold as far as the number of pests it repels. So I hope to have tons and tons of mums spread everywhere. Here's another melon. I don't know if it started getting disease or if it was because it's in that shallow pot. So I transplanted it here. It looks a lot better today. It's kind of more upright. And then I threw some zinnia seeds over here, but maybe it was hard to water this side from the other side. So only one zinnia came up. I'm kind of a little disappointed. Look at this gorgeous scented geranium. This one's I think a year and a half old, and it's already blooming because it already has the roots established. So now it's just putting out tons and tons of flowers, and I love how bright they are. My shinseki pears are doing really well. That's a lot of fruit, because what happened was last year something climbed this that was heavy and it broke off the main stem, and so these side stems are kind of shooting up, and maybe more energy was focused on the roots over the winter, and then now it's focused on making fruit, and I love it so much. There are a lot of fruit. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a dozen fruits on this tree, and I'm not sure if it got too cold, so these kind of died, but it's okay. The red hibiscus are doing fantastic. My nasturtiums that are in the cooler spots are doing great. It's planted in that pot so that it can kind of keep the moisture in the pot, and it can also It'll help with the roots of this fruit tree. It's a mango tree. And basically it'll keep the moisture in, it'll keep the surface of the soil from getting overly hot and dry. We'll bring in tons of pollinators, and nasturtium's edible. So I took advantage of this spot right here. It's kind of in the shade under my lemon tree, my giant lemon tree. And I pulled out some of the mulch that was kind of sitting on top, moved it aside to the right there, and then I put in some mixed green salad mix seeds, and then I covered it up lightly, and I've been watering it. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of lettuce coming up because it's a little cooler and shady over here, so it's best for that type of vegetable. This bird chili, I somehow planted the seeds here, and I thought at that time it wasn't as shady because the lemon tree wasn't coming out this far, and so it's growing pretty well, but it needs more sun.